This has probably happened to you more than once. Someone asks how old you are, you answer, and the reaction comes immediately. What? You don't look that age. The person is surprised, looks at you again, and sometimes even thinks you're joking. And you laugh, say thank you, but deep down you wonder, why does everyone say that? Because you don't feel like you're doing anything extraordinary. You're not constantly dieting. You don't spend hours at the gym. You don't spend a fortune on creams. And you certainly haven't discovered some secret formula to stop aging. But something about you is making a difference. And maybe you've never realized what it is. Because looking younger isn't just about your face. The way you think, react, connect with others, deal with problems, and even the things that still excite you can say much more about your youthfulness than the number written on your ID. And that's exactly why some people reach their 50s, 60s, or 70s and still have a vitality that surprises everyone around them. Not because they found a way to stop time, but because they didn't allow time to age everything inside them. And if people often tell you that you look younger, maybe there are a few things you've been doing right for many years without even realizing they were working in your favor. Today, you're going to discover 9 of them. And get ready, because you'll probably recognize yourself several times throughout this video. At some points, you may think, that's exactly what I do. And at others, you'll finally understand why certain things about you may be connected to the way you age. We're not talking about beauty tricks or miracle products. We're talking about behaviors, attitudes, and ways of living that science has been studying, and that help explain why some people seem to carry their years in a completely different way. And I want you to pay very close attention to reason number 9, because it's the most unexpected one of all. It has nothing to do with exercise, diet, or appearance. It has to do with the relationship you've built with one person who has been with you every single day of your life, yourself. And maybe when we get there, you'll understand something about yourself that you never connected to your appearance before. So, stay with me until the end. And before we begin, leave a like and share this video with that person who tells people their age and always hears, "No way, I could have sworn you were younger." Because maybe they need to discover this too. Youthfulness doesn't just show on your face, it shows in the way you continue to live your life. And the first reason begins with a quality you may still have in abundance. You're still a curious person. Some people wake up every day eager to learn something new, not because someone asked them to, not because it is useful for work, but because there is a spark inside them that is hard to describe. And that spark, as subtle as it may seem, has a real physical effect on the body. When the brain stays active, when it continues exploring and processing new things, it creates neural connections that keep your mind sharp. And a sharp mind shows on the outside, in the way you speak, in the brightness of your eyes, in the energy you bring to a conversation. Think of a musical instrument stored in a basement for 10 years. The strings rust, the wood cracks, the sound fades. Now think of an instrument that is played every day. It vibrates, it resonates, it develops character over time. Your brain works the same way. It does not age from being used, it ages from being neglected. A study conducted by the University of Edinburgh followed older adults for years and found something surprising. Those who continued learning new things showed less cognitive decline and even appeared more physically vital than people of the same age who simply went through life on autopilot. The difference was not in their genes, it was in their behavior, and that difference is visible. People who seem younger have something in common. They still care about learning. They are still amazed by things. They still ask questions without feeling embarrassed about not knowing everything. And that open mind has something no cream in the world can imitate. Look at children. They ask questions all the time. They explore everything. They want to understand how everything works. They are mentally alive, but as people grow older, that curiosity gradually begins to fade. The average adult stops asking questions. They think they already know enough. They close themselves off. And that is exactly when aging begins, long before it shows on the face. When you stop learning, you begin aging on the inside long before you age on the outside. Mental rigidity hardens your expression, your way of speaking, your posture. People become more predictable, more closed off, and that rigidity eventually shows in their appearance, their mood, their presence. That is why people who stay young at heart never lose their curiosity about life. They still ask questions, they still search for deeper meaning, and that keeps them young mentally, physically, and energetically. A flexible mind resists psychological aging. That is why we see people who seem almost untouched by time, while others at the same age seem to have given up on life years ago. And the best part is, you do not need to study complicated subjects or read technical books to activate this. It can be learning how to cook a new dish, learning to play an instrument, listening to a podcast about a subject you have never considered before, talking to someone who works in a completely different field from yours. What matters is that your brain receives the signal that there are still things in the world waiting to be discovered. As Albert Einstein said, "I have no special talents. I'm only passionately curious." Notice that he did not talk about intelligence or discipline. He talked about curiosity, because curiosity is what keeps the engine of the mind running. So give yourself an honest test right now. When was the last time you learned something simply for the pleasure of learning? When was the last time you asked a question without being afraid of looking uninformed? If it took you a moment to come up with an answer, that is your starting point. Your challenge is, over the next 24 hours, to choose a subject, any subject, that sparks your curiosity and to spend 30 minutes exploring it. It could be history, astronomy, gardening, finance, anything. The important thing is to reignite that spark, because when you stay curious, you stay alive. And when you stay alive, you do not simply grow old, you grow wiser. But there is something that can age you even faster than a lack of curiosity, and it has to do with what you feel but never express. Reason 2. You know how to leave hurt behind. This may sound philosophical, but it has a completely scientific basis. When you hold on to resentment, when you repeatedly go back to what someone did to you, when you can't let go of something that has already happened, your body feels it. And not metaphorically, but physically. Resentment is like a poison you drink, hoping the other person will die. While they go on with their life, you're the one being poisoned, a little more each day. The stress caused by unresolved hurt raises cortisol levels, tightens your muscles, disrupts your sleep, and accelerates inflammatory processes that show up in your skin, in your eyes, and in your posture. It's no coincidence that bitter people often have that exhausted look that no good night's sleep can fix. Letting go of what hurt you isn't just an emotional choice. It's a biological decision that directly affects how your body ages. And here's the point that few people understand. The people who look younger aren't the ones who have never been hurt. They have, maybe even more than many others. But they've learned how to process the pain and move forward. It doesn't mean they don't feel it. It means they don't allow that pain to stay with them any longer than necessary. They experience it, process it, and let it go. Because forgiveness isn't about doing a favor for the person who hurt you. Forgiveness is about doing a favor for yourself. It's deciding that what happened will no longer take up space in your mind, in your body, and on your face. And built-up resentment shows. It shows in the tension in your jaw, in the stiffness in your neck, in that tired expression that doesn't go away even after a vacation. It shows in dull eyes, in a smile that doesn't reach your eyes, in a posture that always seems to be carrying something invisible. Think of a hiker walking along a long trail. If his backpack is empty, he walks lightly, takes in the scenery, feels the wind. But if, with every mile, he puts another rock into his backpack, one rock for every hurt, every insult, every injustice, before long he'll be hunched over, out of breath and exhausted. The rocks don't hurt the people who left them on the trail. They hurt the person who chooses to carry them. And that's exactly what resentment does to you. You carry the weight, and the people around you notice it. They may not know exactly what's going on, but they can feel it. There's a heaviness around someone who can't let go of their past. There's a visible lightness in someone who has learned to let go. As Nelson Mandela, who spent 27 years in prison and still chose not to hold on to hatred, is often quoted as saying, "Resentment is like drinking poison and hoping your enemy will die." Letting go isn't easy. It doesn't happen instantly, but it is possible, and those who practice it carry less weight, and carrying less weight is always visible. It shows in your face, in the way you walk, in the way you enter a room. Letting go isn't saying that what happened was right. It's saying that it has already cost you too much, and the moment you decide to stop feeding the resentment, the story begins to lose its power. It still exists in your memory, but it stops controlling your heart. Because resentment doesn't change the past, it only ages your present, while the other person goes on with their life without even thinking about you. Those who let go grow younger. Those who keep carrying the weight wither. But resentment is only one of the emotions that weigh on the body. There's another one, even quieter, that ages you without warning, and it has to do with something you do every day without even realizing it. Reason 3. You know when to slow down. And here, I need to pause for a moment because I know this topic isn't simple for everyone. Some people don't sleep well because they work at night. Others because they have young children. Others because stress never lets up. And many have struggled with insomnia for years without anyone offering them a real solution. If that's your situation, this topic isn't meant to make you feel bad. It's meant to recognize that your body is making an enormous effort under difficult circumstances, and that deserves respect, not criticism. That said, there is a part of rest that is within your control, even when circumstances aren't perfect. And that's the part we need to talk about. People who look younger aren't necessarily the ones who get exactly 8 hours of sleep every night. They're the ones who take rest seriously, who don't sacrifice sleep for things that can wait. They don't stay up until 3 in the morning, scrolling through their phones, while their bodies have been begging for a break for hours. They protect their sleep as something valuable, because it is. Think of sleep as the night shift of an invisible factory inside you. While you sleep, that factory is working at full capacity. Your body's tissues are repaired, hormones are regulated, memories are organized, and your brain literally cleans house, removing metabolic waste that has accumulated throughout the day. If you cut that shift in half night after night, the factory can't keep up with the demand. And the results will show up in your skin, your eyes, your expression, and your mood. Research has shown that even a single night of poor sleep can affect skin cells in ways associated with accelerated cellular aging. And when sleep deprivation becomes chronic, the outward signs become clear. Dark circles under the eyes, dull skin, a tired expression, and a sense of heaviness that no amount of coffee can take away. And the worst part is that many people notice this, but continue putting off rest as if it were a luxury, as if sleeping well were laziness, as if staying up late were a sign of productivity. It's exactly the opposite. People who sleep well think better, make better decisions, respond better, and age more slowly. People who sleep poorly are always chasing energy that never comes, relying on coffee, sugar, and willpower to imitate the energy that sleep would provide for free. As writer Arianna Huffington has said, sleep is not a luxury, it is an essential pillar of a successful life. And I would add, it is also an essential pillar of aging with greater ease. If insomnia or your work schedule makes your routine difficult, no one here is asking you to be perfect. What matters is starting small. A slightly more consistent schedule, a few fewer minutes of screen time before bed, a darker, quieter environment. One that feels more inviting for rest. Not because there is some magic formula, but because every small step in the right direction sends a clear signal to your body. This pause matters. And your body responds to that signal, even if it takes a little time. You don't need to sleep perfectly every night. You just need to stop treating rest as whatever is left over after everything else. It isn't what's left over. It's what supports everything else. People who respect their sleep age more slowly. People who sacrifice it eventually see the cost in their face. Reason 4. You know how to enjoy the present moment. What happens when a person truly lives in the only moment where life actually exists, which is right now? It becomes visible on the outside, because most people are trapped in a time that is already gone, or one that hasn't even arrived yet. They're stuck in the past, replaying what went wrong, what they could have done, what they lost, or they're living in the future, anxious about what might go wrong, about bills that are coming, about scenarios that may never happen. And while the mind lives in these two imaginary places, the body pays the price in real time. Think of a phone with 100 apps open at the same time, all running in the background. The battery drains quickly, the phone heats up, the screen freezes, the whole system slows down. Your mind works in a similar way. Every memory you keep replaying and every worry about what might happen is like an open app consuming energy. And when that energy runs low, the strain begins to show in your face, your eyes, and your posture. Researchers at Harvard University discovered something fascinating. People spend nearly half of their waking hours thinking about something other than what they're doing at that moment. And these periods of mind-wandering are strongly associated with unhappiness. In other words, constantly living outside the present can take a real emotional toll. People who stay young at heart understand this intuitively. They try to be where their feet are. When they eat, they eat. When they talk to someone, they're truly part of the conversation. When they work, they work. When they rest, they rest. They aren't constantly divided between what happened and what might happen, and the result is visible. When you're present, your mind relaxes, your body releases tension, your expressions become more natural. Your breathing gets deeper, your eyes look lighter, your shoulders drop. There's less stress, more inner strength, more presence, and that creates a youthful energy that no one needs to announce because it shows on its own. As a saying often attributed to Lao Tzu puts it, if you are depressed, you are living in the past. If you are anxious, you are living in the future. If you are at peace, you are living in the present. And it's in that last state that the best parts of life truly happen. The point isn't to ignore the past or stop planning for the future. The past teaches you, the future gives you direction. But neither one should take the place of where you actually live, which is here. When you allow yourself to be fully present, even during the simplest tasks, you stop working against yourself mentally. And that lack of inner resistance begins to show in the way you carry yourself. Because true youth isn't just a matter of chronological age. It's also a matter of where your mind spends most of its time. People who live in the past carry wrinkles no one can see. People who live in the future age under the weight of wrinkles that haven't even arrived yet. But people who live in the present truly live, and time can't leave its mark on that. Reason 5. You still laugh at the simple things. Genuine laughter does something to the body that is simply remarkable. It releases endorphins, reduces cortisol, relaxes the facial muscles, improves circulation, and even strengthens the immune system. In other words, laughter is not just an emotional reaction, it is a chemical reaction that rejuvenates the body from the inside out, and the effect is visible. It is no coincidence that people who laugh often in that genuine way, without holding back, without putting on a show, carry a kind of vitality that gets noticed when they walk into a room. Think of laughter as a free internal massage. Every good laugh moves the diaphragm, brings more oxygen to the brain, softens the face, and releases tension that many times you did not even realize you were carrying. Laughing for a few minutes can support the body's immune response. It can have measurable benefits for the body without a prescription or side effects. But science is only part of the story. There is something even more interesting behind the ability to laugh easily. Laughing easily says something about the way you relate to life. It says that not everything has to be so serious. It says there is room for lightness, even on difficult days. And that attitude, that genuine lightness, is something people notice, even if they cannot explain why. Look at people who take everything too seriously, those who can barely remember the last time they truly laughed. They often carry a visible stiffness in their face, in their eyes, in their shoulders. This is not a judgment. It is what naturally happens when you spend years carrying the weight of the world without making room for relief. The body holds on to that tension. The skin loses some of its glow, the expression becomes harder, and time begins to leave deeper marks on your face. But someone who can still laugh freely, laugh at silly things, laugh at their own mistakes, maintains a flexibility that goes far beyond the muscles of the face. It is a flexibility of the soul. And that flexibility shows up in everything, in the way you speak, in the way you walk, in the way you respond when things do not go as planned. As Charlie Chaplin said, "A day without laughter is a day wasted." And when you add up too many wasted days, time eventually sends the bill to the mirror. This is not about pretending to be happy or forcing yourself to be cheerful. No one needs to be funny all the time. What matters is not losing the ability to find something amusing in everyday life. It is laughing at the absurdity of traffic, at a silly stumble, at a friend's joke, at your own absent-minded moment. These are small moments that may seem insignificant, but over the years, they keep adding vitality to your life. Anyone who still knows how to truly laugh has something that time has not managed to erase. A spark, a freshness, a youthfulness that is not in the skin, but in the way they experience life. Because time ages the face, but excessive seriousness ages the soul. Reason 6. You don't change who you are just to be accepted. Few things age a person as much as the constant effort of trying to be someone they are not, and almost no one realizes they're doing it. When someone finally stops trying to fit in and simply allows themselves to be who they are, it becomes noticeable on the outside. Because one of the most emotionally draining things a human being can do is live at the mercy of other people's expectations, pretending to have certain opinions, pretending to like certain things, pretending to have personalities that do not match who they truly are. It is that masquerade so many people join without even realizing it. And the problem is that every mask has weight. You may be able to carry one, maybe two. But when you are carrying 5, 10, 20 masks at the same time, the body begins to reveal what the mind is trying to hide. Think of an actor who steps onto the stage every day for years, playing a character who is nothing like who he really is. At first it seems fun, then it becomes a habit, and eventually he can no longer tell where the character ends and where his real self begins. This kind of inner conflict creates a form of psychological strain, and it shows. It shows in the tense expression, in the smile that never reaches the eyes, in the hunched posture, in the voice that loses its natural tone. Being who you are can even help you carry less tension in your face. On the other hand, when you stop trying to please everyone and remain true to who you are, even in the face of uncertainty, even through moments of loneliness, something changes. Authenticity is freeing. There is less internal tension, less contradiction, less energy spent maintaining artificial versions of yourself. And when your inner world is aligned with the person you show to the outside world, that peace becomes visible. You cannot fake it. People notice. They may not be able to explain what has changed, but they can feel the difference when they are around you. That is why someone will often hear, "You look different, you look better, more relaxed." And usually, This happens precisely during periods when that person has stopped forcing themselves to be someone they are not. It was not a new skincare product. It was not a diet. It was not a haircut. It was alignment. As Oscar Wilde said, "Be yourself. Everyone else is already taken." The important distinction is that this is not about being arrogant or about not caring about anyone else. It is about not handing your identity over to other people. It is about not living as though you need permission to exist in your own way. It is about understanding that other people's approval is a moving target. Today, you please one group. Tomorrow, you disappoint another. Anyone who spends their life chasing it never really gets anywhere and grows older in that endless race. Anyone who tries to fit into every mold eventually loses their own shape. Anyone who allows themselves to exist fully, even when they stand out, keeps a vitality that no mask can imitate. Because true youthfulness is not about being accepted by everyone. It is about finally accepting yourself completely. Reason 7. You build genuine connections with people. And this may be the most important reason of all. The one nobody mentions when the subject is staying young, but the one that may have the greatest impact on how you age. The quality of your personal relationships directly influences how much wear and tear your body experiences over time. And this is not an opinion. It is a finding backed by an enormous body of scientific evidence. The human body responds in a completely different way when it feels like it is part of something, when it knows there is someone in the world who truly knows who you are. On the other hand, social isolation has an impact on life expectancy comparable to smoking 15 cigarettes a day. 15 cigarettes every single day. That is what a lack of genuine connection can do to your body. Think of a tree standing alone in the middle of an open field. It grows, but it remains vulnerable. A strong enough wind can knock it down. A drought leaves its mark. A storm can open deep cracks in its trunk. Now, think of a tree in the middle of a forest. Its roots intertwine beneath the ground. The trees shelter one another with their canopies. Nutrients circulate among them. That tree endures, flourishes, and remains vibrant for decades. You work much like that tree. Your roots need to connect with other roots for you to remain strong over time. But don't confuse the two. Real connection is not about quantity. Genuine bonds are not the ones you have the most of. They are the ones built on honesty. It doesn't matter whether you have 300 contacts in your phone or 2,000 followers on social media. What matters is whether you have at least one person you can talk to without having to carefully weigh every word. Someone who shows up on the hard days and stays. Someone you can simply be yourself around without the mask we talked about in Reason 6. That kind of presence tells your body in ways science is still working to fully understand that you are safe, that you belong, that you matter. And a body that feels this way, without a doubt, moves through the aging process with greater ease. As psychiatrist Robert Waldinger, who leads the longest-running study on human happiness, said, "Good relationships keep us happier and healthier, period." It wasn't money, it wasn't fame, it wasn't professional success that mattered most for the people who aged well. It was the quality of the relationships they cultivated throughout their lives. And that is why this reason is the one people least expect, because we live in an age where we confuse being connected with having real companionship. We exchange messages all day long, but rarely look someone in the eye. We know what is happening in so many people's lives, but no one really knows what is happening in ours. And this loneliness disguised as connection may be the cruelest kind, because it deceives you while slowly wearing you down from within. If you want to age with greater ease, invest in the right people. Call that friend you haven't spoken to in months. Get together for that coffee you've been putting off for a year. Tell someone they matter to you before time takes that opportunity away. These gestures may seem small, but they build the kind of roots that can support you for a lifetime. Because it is not the years that keep you young, it is the people you share those years with. And here is the truth. Few people have the courage to admit you can eat well, sleep well, exercise every day, take care of your skin, and still age faster if you live in isolation. But you can be less than perfect with some of your physical habits and still hold on to a youthful spark if you have people who love you and whom you love in return. Because in the end, youth is not about resisting time. It is about moving through it with the right people. Reason 8. You have a purpose in your life. Having a purpose completely changes the way your body moves through time. And we're not talking about something grand or worthy of a biography. It can be a garden you take care of, a business you're building, a hobby you've been improving for years, people who depend on you in some way. What matters is having something that gives direction to your days. Because the human body can tell the difference between waking up with a reason and waking up out of inertia. And it responds completely differently in each of those two situations. Think of a burning candle. As long as there's a wick and a flame, it gives off light and warmth. It has a presence in the room. The moment it goes out, it becomes just a piece of wax. Like all the others, forgotten in a corner. People work in a similar way. Purpose is your inner wick. It's what keeps the flame burning, and that flame shows in your eyes, in your voice, in the way you walk into a room. People with purpose carry a certain kind of energy that's hard to explain. A presence, a quiet confidence, something that can't be faked. And that's exactly what makes these people seem more alive, more whole, younger than the average person their age. But those who live without direction begin to feel like every day is the same. And when every day feels the same, something in the body and mind begins to slow down. A routine without meaning drains you in a completely different way than effort driven by purpose. Someone can work 12 hours a day building something they love and end the day exhausted, but still feel alive. Someone else can work 4 hours doing something that means nothing to them and end the day dragging their feet with no energy left for anything else. The difference isn't in the hours, it's in the meaning. You don't need to have your entire life figured out to have a purpose. You don't need a 10-year plan or some epic mission. Sometimes having a purpose is as simple as committing yourself to something that truly matters to you and protecting the time you dedicate to it. It can be learning an instrument. It can be taking care of someone. It can be getting better at your profession. It can be writing a book that maybe no one will ever read, but that you need to write. What matters isn't how big your purpose is. It's how genuinely you commit yourself to it. As Friedrich Nietzsche said, "He who has a why to live for can bear almost any how." And that quote explains a lot. People with purpose make it through difficulties that would bring many others down and still maintain an impressive vitality. Because their inner flame keeps burning regardless of what's happening around them. The person who knows why they get up in the morning doesn't age the same way as someone who lives without direction. It's not a matter of luck or genetics. It's a matter of direction. Because time passes for everyone, but those who have somewhere to go move through time. Those who don't are carried along by it. Reason 9. You've learned to be comfortable with yourself. And this is the reason almost no one expects, and yet it's probably the most important one of all. Because everything we've talked about so far, curiosity, forgiveness, sleep, laughter, being present, authenticity, connection, purpose, all of it begins within you before it shows up on the outside. And if there's a war going on inside you, no amount of external care can make up for the toll that inner conflict takes. People who treat themselves well, and we're not talking about feeling perfect or never having insecurities, but about not living in a constant battle with yourself, radiate something that's almost impossible to describe, but very easy to notice. There's a sense of calm about them, a sense of inner harmony, as if they're comfortable taking up the space they occupy. And it shows. It shows in the way they speak. It shows in how they react when they're criticized. It shows in the absence of that constant tension carried by people who never feel like they're enough. Think of a house where the people who live there argue every day. Even if it looks beautiful from the outside, the moment you step inside, you can feel the heaviness in the air. The walls almost seem to hold the tension. Now, think of a house where there's peace among the people who live there. You feel it the moment you walk through the door. Even if the decor is simple, you are that house, and your face is the front door. People can sense, even before they consciously think about it, what's happening inside. Someone who constantly judges themselves harshly, who's never satisfied with what they do, what they achieve, or who they are, carries a weight that others can notice. It's not always obvious, but people can feel it. There's a kind of emotional exhaustion that ages you in a way no mirror can clearly show, but the world can see. The way you talk to yourself directly affects your body's chemistry. Every cruel act of self-criticism is a small dose of poison. Every moment of self-compassion is a small dose of healing. On the other hand, someone who learns to treat themselves with the same kindness they would show someone they love carries a lightness that nothing external can buy or imitate. It's not the lightness of someone who has no problems, it's the lightness of someone who has problems and doesn't become defined by them. That inner peace is probably one of the most underestimated factors in staying youthful. You won't find it in any anti-aging product, any beauty routine, or any supplement, but it's at the foundation of everything that makes someone seem younger than they really are, because nothing makes you seem younger than being at peace with yourself. So if people often tell you that you look younger than you really are, maybe it's not just what they see, maybe it's what they feel when they're around you. Your lightness, your open mind, the absence of heaviness, the absence of emotional baggage. Because in the end, youth has nothing to do with your date of birth. It's mostly a state of mind. It's not about avoiding the passage of time. It's about not fighting against it, not against time, and not against yourself. And truly accepting yourself with your flaws, your history, your scars, all of it, may be the most rejuvenating thing you can do. More than 2,000 years ago, someone felt exactly what you're feeling right now and left behind the answer. Stoic House exists to bring that answer to your heart. If this moved you, leave a like, share this video, and subscribe. May serenity stay with you until we meet again.